when I have witnessed her after classes finish, I have observed on many occasions that she is taking time with students, answering questions, and really listening to them and providing them with help and guidance. I also noticed that whenever she has her office hours, she's very popular with students as well, and she takes the time to really help them, particularly in their own research projects, junior research project. She really helps them deal with their research and become independent by learning how to do it properly.
In the courses that I teach, yes, every one of them actually, and more so in some of them because they are more conducive to this, such as research methods, for example. I've been teaching that for a few years now. I've taught economic change and social stratification, which is exactly in my own field. So what I will usually do is have cutting-edge research pieces, actually from top journals in sociology, have students read those, or even sometimes, well actually most of the time now, since in the past 2 years, I'll have them pick articles that they want to read from these top journals, and I will be sometimes reading it for the first time myself. So we will analyze those and we will critique those, because no piece, not even one that is published in the American Sociological Review, is perfect, or even if it is great and wonderful, there is still more work to be done. As long as inequality exists, we will still be writing about inequality. So one piece of work has not completed the task. We need to keep going. Yeah, so I include actual cutting-edge research a lot in my courses, and it really works. Students are absolutely able to follow, not only follow, but they're able to find gaps, they're able to critique constructively, productively, they're able to pull points out of it that maybe they will use in their own projects. So yeah, it's been, my teaching is informed by the research quite a bit.
During my junior research project, she really inspired me about the knowledge towards the topic of poverty, because she actually inspired me how to think of the topic from different perspectives.
All I have to do is provide a welcoming atmosphere. I mean, that's probably the biggest barrier. When I was an undergraduate student, I was very shy, and I hardly ever spoke in class. But there were some teachers that could get you speaking, and that could get you more engaged with the material. And that's what I try to do, because the students are, I would absolutely disagree with that statement of, students are just rote learners, that they're not creative. This is just a lie, I think.
我就跟 Esra 咧就讀咗3個 course 啦 ，stratification 一個 course， 跟住仲有佢係我 JLP 同埋 senior thesis 個 supervisor 啦。咁其實跟 Esra 上譬如普通嘅 course 咧都好 rewarding 嘅，因為佢可能每次教完一小個 section 嘅嘢啦，咁佢都會即刻問翻我哋你同唔同意啊？你有冇啲咩 feedback？ 即係我哋做完小組討論之後咧，再每個人 share 翻自己個意見，咁樣咧都其實幫到我哋會去反思翻嗰個作者講嘅嘢啱唔啱啦，咁都刺激到我哋思考，同埋咧好中意每次佢咧最後一堂佢都會有一個 mini game 啦，咁就同我哋溫下書咁樣，咁就係可能4選1一個 MC， 咁我哋揀啱咗咧攞到最高分嗰3個人咧就會有嘢啦，咁我覺得其實呢啲好少嘅舉動我都覺得都幾開心。
我覺得上 Esra 嘅堂咧係好開心嘅一件事啦，因為好似每一科一開成第一堂嘅時候咧，佢都會有一個好用一個比較有趣嘅方式去做一個 icebreak 啦，同我哋就係每一個人咧就會簡單咁寫一句説話去介紹下自己啊，或者關於自己嘅 description， 然後咧就會撈亂晒嗰啲 description， 然後每個同學就再抽翻一張出嚟，然後我哋就去揾翻嗰一張嘢係屬於邊一個咧，咁從而就令到大家可以對彼此有一個基本嘅認識同了解咁樣啦。
I tend to break up the class into groups, into small groups, but you got to be really careful with that, because if you have 95 students, let's say, and you have them in groups of 3 or 4, you can't necessarily go to every group really quickly, which is what I try to do, and I try to do some of that, but you will have some groups at the back talking about their dinner plans. So you have to just, be very creative with that. What I've done, and I'm gonna actually show you this. This is totally improvised right now, but I have these excellent dice, and they help me randomize the groups of students, essentially, so that they won't end up with their own, friends who they will be starting to make plans about dinner with. And I have them roll these dice, and they are 10-sided dice. So, and I have 10 of these, so I'll just hand them out. And once they mix up with new people, they realize they have to concentrate on the task that I gave them. So it's much less likely that they'll talk about their dinner plans. So instead of having them raise their hand, I started actually doing creative things. Like, I have a microphone in class, in large classes especially, where I just, hand it to a student next to me, but I tell them, you can pass, no problem. Somebody will take the microphone, I'm sure, right? So you just keep passing the microphone until somebody is willing to answer the question. And if no one is, it will come all the way back to me, and I will answer my own question. But that gives everyone a chance to potentially use the microphone. And you'd be surprised at how quickly the microphone is used, because they then feel like, instead of looking like they're, a student feels like instead of standing out to shine themselves, they're saving the rest of the group now. Because if they take the microphone, other people can just relax. So it's just a framing issue. I receive a lot of student feedback throughout. During about half the term, about when we're halfway through the term, I will ask the students what they wish me to start, stop, and continue doing, anonymously, completely. And through that, I have learned what works. So that's one thing that's kind of changed over time, just hopefully the progress.
So my project is about how academic pressure of university students affect their dating experience. So as we all know, dating experience can be sensitive sometimes, and then students may not want to tell the researchers about how many times they date, for example. So Professor Esra actually provides me with very sophisticated suggestions. For example, using a forced response method borrowed from political science. So in a forced response method, we'll ask the respondents to roll a dice. If the result is 1, the respondent just need to tell us yes. If the result is 6, just tell the researchers no. But if the result of the dice is 2, 3, 4, and 5, they need to tell us the real answer. So whether they date or not, or how many times that they date. So on one hand, the respondents won't feel embarrassed by the question, but on the other hand, by mathematical method, we can eliminate the errors after getting a large sample.
Kahoot before in the past to review for exams. That's been really fantastic, because on my final lecture I will usually want to recap what we had in the course, and at that time students it's much less stressful, let's just say, if it's inside a game. And I then remind them all the readings that have been read in the class, and just the sort of broad brush strokes, essentially. To be able to teach the same course or same courses for a while. So I have been teaching Introduction to Sociology, research methods. Those two especially have been repeat courses for me. And I think those are great. That's very helpful, because that's when you can build that sort of mental bandwidth and keep building on a course until it's better and better. The first time you teach a course, you don't really know what the response will be. Hopefully your enthusiasm and your preparedness is good enough. And it has been for economic change and social stratification, for example. The first time I taught it, it was just fantastic. I mean, the response was good, they learned and I learned from them and we had a great time. But it is for early faculty members, new faculty members. There are a lot of things to do besides teaching. That you need to establish your research agenda as soon as possible, get those grants, get going on your data collection, a lot of service too as well. You've got to do well on that. This is why it would really help if they are willing and if this is something that works for them, to ask for the same courses if the department is willing to give that to them throughout the first 3 years or so they can build that course and not have to shift focus too many times.